Good morning, thriving warriors. Today is Monday, May 22nd, 2023. Here we are in Pahrump-Tucky, Pahrump-Arcana, Nevada, west of Las Vegas, over the hill, on the way to Death Valley, California. Cool. All right, so here we are at Department of Career Services, where our goal is simple. It's to help you get from where you are to someplace better through our 4-part transformation program, which is based upon physical, mental, emotional, and most importantly, spiritual change. Good morning, Todd. Good morning, Jeff. So Jeff, yes, I will be sending an email to you this morning in response to your email to me about your class. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to help you. Good morning, Diana. Charlene is driving to work as she's opening her store today. So our goal, very simply, once again, is to help you get from point A to point B on your journey. And it is a journey. It is not a sprint. It is not a marathon. It is a never-ending pursuit towards the better, best place you can have, something to make you say that your life is worthwhile, not diminishing spending eternity with God in heaven, not diminishing that, just focused on life on earth, not life after earth, not our eternal bliss and the crowns that we may earn. Okay, so this is the, how do we do that? How do we help you? Well, we help you through this podcast, but more important, from the stuff down below. Please subscribe, click on the bell, share, thumbs up, do all of that stuff. Promote this to other people, because if you believe it, it works. Like so many things in life, if you believe it, it works. All right. Let's see, 2 minutes and 30 seconds in. Let's get ready to get started. How do we start? We need 3 vital things. Number 1, coffee. Coffee, which according to Stanford scientists actually helps you learn things. Not really, just made that up, but it could be true. If you believe it's true, it'll be true. Pen. And our book to write in, because it doesn't help us learn if we don't have it in writing. Okay, so today's weather forecast is, it's currently 66, and the high will be 91. So a 50 degree, almost a 50% increase in temperature. All right, next, have a sip of coffee as we're waiting for Charlene to join us. Good cracker. Let's just see where Charlene is. Well, she's in the parking lot. She should be joining any second. Okay, today's advice from an 80-year-old. Advice from an 80-year-old. Number 22, be a good listener. Be a good loser. Be a good loser, because as Jordan Peterson says, life isn't a game, it's a series of games, and you need to be able to learn to lose. Okay, there's Charlene. Charlene has now joined us. We can get started. Coffee. Good cracker. Next, today is day 1 of week 1 of our neuroscience-oriented approach to success. What does that mean? What is week 1 about? Week 1 is introduction and overview into what we're doing here. Very important. If we don't know where we're going, any path will take us there. Where are we heading? We're heading towards Successlandia, which is a thing for physical, but also spiritual, mental, emotional pursuit of those things to the most that we can do, attempting to avoid making mistakes along the way. Needless mistakes, not mistakes. It's important to make mistakes, but not needless mistakes. We don't need to repeat mistakes, and we don't need to make a mistake that we can avoid. So week 1, day 1, week 1, who am I and why do I act as I do? And we will find out in this neuroscience-oriented approach that stored in our brain are neurons. Stored in our brain is our lived past, our anticipated future, our ability to simulate things like that, all kinds of little beliefs and rules that we have. And when the belief gets activated, something happens to act on the belief. We could release neurotransmitters or hormones that make us feel a certain way, and our feelings affect our behavior. Our behavior affects the outcome, and the outcome tends to reinforce the initial belief. So if you believe you suck at something, then you're going to release probably cortisol when an opportunity comes. When you release cortisol, you're not going to perform as well. Your behavior is not going to be optimal. Let's say it's a job search. I suck at doing interviews. Oh, I've got an interview. I'm going into an interview, but I suck at interviews. I'm going to release cortisol. I'm not going to perform at my best. I'm not going to get hired. The outcome will be not getting hired. Behavior, less than optimal performance. Outcome will be didn't get job. Belief that's reinforced is I suck at this. So the next time I even have more negative thoughts. So this week we want to understand, who am I? Why do I behave the way I do? In a metaphorical sense, what we're doing is preparing ourselves to understand the 4 parts of our transformative program: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. So on the physical side, we need to take care of our health and our body, our fitness and health. Just like the sail of a boat, if you don't keep the sails properly trimmed, properly maintained, properly cared for, they will fail you when you need them. And then the journey will be greatly affected, probably for the worse. Could be Todd in the kitchen. Got to turn off this alarm, otherwise it's going to continue for hours and hours and hours. Okay. The emotional part is like the lower decks on the ship, where there's the galley, the sleeping area, the storage, etc., the place that keeps us safe and warm or cool, away from the elements, away from the wind, rain, heat, cold, etc., etc. So the below deck provides us comfort. That's the emotional side of our well-being. You have to take care of that, because if we can't control our emotions, don't worry, somebody else will, and they'll probably take us out of the game. The mental side is like the rudder on the ship. It enables us to steer, to navigate to where we want to go, to Successlandia. Because being rudderless, the current and the wind are probably not going to take us there. As Jordan Peterson, it's like a 1 in a billion chance, 1 in a million chance that we're randomly going to end up where we want to be. And then the most important part of the boat we're building, the metaphorical boat, is the spiritual side, belief that Jesus is the Messiah, and certain things we need to do for everlasting salvation, which is faith in God alone. By grace, not by deeds, etc. To believe that, but act in such a way that your behavior is consistent with your beliefs. Okay, so that's our program. 10:20 in. Let's quickly go to Seth Godin, Compounding Head Starts. So this is an important one. When a 6-year-old kid beats the other kids at tennis, that kid is more likely to be encouraged to play more or to get a coach, and pretty soon they're much better at tennis than the others. Right. That was Tiger Woods in golf. When a musical group has a single that gets some buzz on Spotify, they're more likely to be able to find a producer or even a label. When a candidate polls well early in a race, they're more likely to get donations, attract consultants, run ads, and not be encouraged to drop out. There are clearly scarcity-based competitions in our culture that reward early success. Acknowledging this, however unfair or suboptimal it is as a sorting mechanism, leads us to two very different sets of tactics. One alternative is to dramatically overinvest and over-prepare for your debut. Right. It's like taking an LSAT course to get the highest possible grade so you get in the best possible law school and get the best possible education. If early head starts are rewarded, be sure you have one. This can even involve entering a school a year later or running for dog catcher instead of the Senate, right? Have an early success. The other is to acknowledge that even though head starts are sort of random and often reward the wrong folks, you're going to ignore them. Make sure you have the resources and resolve to develop your following and your skills, regardless of how well you do in the first interactions, day by day and drip by drip. Most people try to do both, and doing both almost guarantees you'll burn out. Okay, so pick one of those two strategies. Either invest for early success. You want to get a job. You want to get this job. Prepare for the job. Every little detail. Know about the company. Know as much as you can. Know more about the company than the people interviewing you. Put in the resources. Have a resume that is just for that employer. Go out, get new clothes, wear something nice, invest your time and money to get the job. Because if you get that job, you're going to be on a path to someplace good. That's one. Two, just keep going. Just keep going. But you can't really, but as Seth says, you can't really do both. Okay, next, moving on to our fable. How are we doing here? 1347 in, moving on to our fable. The Fighting Cocks and the Eagle. This is an interesting one. Once there were two cocks living in the same farmyard who could not bear the sight of each other. We have this in our apartments all the time. At last, one day, they flew up to fight it out, beak and claw. They fought until one of them was beaten and crawled off to a corner to hide. The cock that had won the battle flew to the top of the hen house and proudly flapping his wings, crowed with all his might to tell the world about his victory. But an eagle circling overhead heard the boasting character, heard the boasting chanticleer, and swooping down, carried him off to his nest. His rival saw the deed, and coming out of his corner, took his place as master of the farmyard. Aesop says, pride goes before a fall. Okay, true enough. True enough. What I say to you is a rising tide lifts all boats. Cooperate. It's not me against you, it's us against them. But more than that, there is no us and them. There's only us. Go to the margins, because that's the only way the margins will disappear, which is kind of a good segue to get to repeat Father Boyle's instructions to us. To remember, this is not the place you've come to, it's the place you go from. And you go from here to create a community of kinship such that God, in fact, might recognize it. In fact, that is God's dream come true. No us and them, just us. And you imagine with God a circle of compassion. And then you imagine nobody standing outside that circle. And you know that God does not share in the demonizing in which we all engage in. And so you choose to go from here and you dismantle the barriers that exclude. And you go out to the margins because that's the only way they'll get erased. If you stand out at them and you stand with the poor and the powerless and the voiceless, and you stand with those whose dignity has been denied, and you stand with those whose burdens are more than they can bear. And every one of us here has had an exquisite mutual experience of knowing what it's like to stand with the easily despised and readily left out. You go from here to stand with the demonized so that the demonizing will stop. You stand with the disposable so the day will come when we stop throwing people away. For no kinship, no peace, no kinship, no justice, no kinship, no equality. You go to the margins not to make a difference, because then it's about you. You go to the margins so the folks at the margins make you different. All righty then. So let us quickly go to our prayer. Soul of Christ. Soul of Christ, sanctify me. Body of Christ, save me. Blood of Christ, inebriate me. Water from Christ's side, wash me. Passion of Christ, strengthen me. O good Jesus, hear me. Within your wounds, hide me. Let me not be separated from you. From the enemy, defend me. At my death, call me and bid me come to you, that with your saints I may praise you forever and ever. Amen. Cool. Good. Time. 17:13. Let's wrap it up. Charlene or Diana, what say you? Next little morsel, getting from point A to point B in our journey. Right. Act such that yesterday was the only easy day, which means push yourself a little bit more, have a little bit more meaning and purpose in your life, meaning which translates to act such that everything you do matters, and service to others. And Charlene, if you're there, if you're ready to go, thank you. If you're still here, God is not through with you yet. The journey is over when our heart stops beating and we stop breathing. And Charlene has 9 happy faces. Excellent. Good. And can we get and cut? And cut, people. Somebody cut. Get us